In 1895, Budapest. A blacksmith opens his workshop. Imre Uri is not thinking about the future. He's thinking about survival. About repairing carts, about shoeing horses, about earning enough to eat. His workshop is small. His ambitions are modest. He wants to be a skilled craftsman, nothing more. He cannot know what he's starting. Cannot imagine that his small business will outlive empires. Will survive 2 world wars. Will become a socialist industrial giant. Will build buses that dominate an entire continent. Will somehow, impossibly, end up on the streets of American cities during the height of the Cold War. The story of Ikarus is not a story of genius, not a story of innovation. It is a story of adaptation, of survival through political upheaval, of a company that became whatever it needed to be. Capitalist, communist, international, always building, always evolving, always finding a way forward. And at the peak, in the 1970s and 1980s, Ikarus was producing buses at a scale that seemed impossible. 13,000 buses per year, triple the entire output of all American bus manufacturers combined. One factory in Hungary, supplying vehicles to over 70 countries. This is the story of how a blacksmith's workshop became a bus empire, and how Hungarian buses ended up rolling through Portland, Houston, and Seattle, carrying American passengers during the Cold War, when East and West were supposed to be enemies. Sometimes business finds a way, even when politics says no. From horseshoes to buses, the first decades are unremarkable. Imre Uri repairs carts, shoes horses, but he reinvests his profits. Slowly, the workshop expands. Within a few years, he is not just repairing, he is building carriages, drays, chariots, custom work for paying customers. The Rover safety bicycle changes everything. Uri sees potential. He acquires the exclusive license to import and build these bicycles in Germany. The name Phänomen Rover appears. Phenomenon Rover. The product sells. The business grows. In 1900 motorcycles, the Phänomen motorcycle uses Fafnir engines initially. Then from 1903, their own single-cylinder 4-stroke designs. The company is learning, developing engineering capability, building expertise in mechanical systems. In 1913, a major expansion. Uri purchases a new plant. By World War I, the focus shifts to truck superstructures, building and repairing. The war creates demand. The workshop becomes a factory. Small contracts become steady business. After the war, the automotive age arrives. Everyone wants vehicles. Uri starts building carriages for motorized chassis, coach bodies, bus bodies. The transition from horse-drawn to motorized is happening everywhere. The workshop that started with horseshoes is now building bodies for the vehicles replacing horses. World War II brings another shift. The company builds parts for airplanes, army vehicles, military equipment, whatever the war effort demands. By 1945, the factory in Budapest is virtually destroyed. The siege of Budapest devastates the city. The facility is in ruins. The Uri family rebuilds. Production resumes in 1947 with the TR5 model, a basic bus, simple, functional. Budapest desperately needs buses. The siege destroyed most public transport. These new vehicles are lifesavers for city dwellers trying to rebuild their lives. In 1948, the first integral bus, the TR3-5. Instead of a body mounted on a chassis, the body and frame are integrated, more efficient, lighter, better suited to urban service. Then comes nationalization, the socialist transformation. In 1948, the newly established Second Hungarian Republic nationalized industries. The Uri family sees what is coming. The government is backed by the Soviet Union. Property rights mean nothing. Private enterprise is the enemy. The family makes a decision. They leave Hungary, flee before they are arrested or worse. The blacksmith workshop that Imre Uri started in 1895 becomes state property. The company was merged with the Uri siblings' car body and vehicle factory, which had been run by Uri's children. Also merged is an airplane factory. The new entity is created on February 8, 1949, Ikarus Body and Vehicle Factory, Ikarus Carrozzeria Eșarmuiar. The name comes from Greek mythology. Ikarus, the boy who flew too close to the sun. His wings melted, he fell. A curious choice for a transportation company, but the logo is distinctive, stylized wings, recognizable. The brand is born. For a few years, the products do not bear the Ikarus name. The TR5 models built after 1949 start showing the winged logo, but only in 1951 does everything officially become Ikarus. The 1950s bring a flood of new models: the Ikarus 30 series, the Ikarus 60 series, the Ikarus 601, 602, 620, 630, all variations, different configurations, different purposes. The state-owned enterprise is expanding rapidly, producing for domestic needs and early exports. Then come the icons, the Ikarus 55 and Ikarus 66, sister models, rear-mounted engines. Distinctive configuration and look. The common nickname is Faros, roughly translates to buttocks. The rear engine placement creates a particular shape. Between 1952 and 1973, a total of 16,726 units are built. These buses become symbols of Hungarian industrial achievement, but the real transformation came in 1963. Comecon, the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance, makes a decision. The Economic Coordination Organization of Communist States. They decide to specialize production, eliminate redundant capacities, assign specific industries to specific countries, maximize efficiency through central planning. Hungary receives buses. The entire Eastern Bloc will source most of its buses from Hungary, from Ikarus. This is not a request. This is the plan. Ikarus will become the bus manufacturer for a market of hundreds of millions of people. The implications are staggering. The scale unprecedented. The investment enormous. The 200 series revolution. In 1963, the Hungarian state merges Ikarus with several other companies, the Általános, Mechanikai Gépgyár, the General Mechanical Machine Factory, Auto Body Works in Bautzen and Zittau, an engine plant in Kamenz, fire extinguisher works in Gorlitz. The company becomes a complex, an industrial empire centered on bus production. A new factory opens in Székesfehérvár. Engine production begins in Győr under a partnership with Raba, building engines under license from MAN of Germany. The infrastructure to support massive production is being assembled piece by piece. The goal is clear: develop a standardized bus family. One basic design, multiple variations, city buses, suburban buses, long-distance coaches, articulated buses, all are built on the same fundamental platform. Maximize commonality, minimize unique components, classic socialist industrial planning. In 1967, the Budapest International Fair, the prototype appears, the Ikarus 250, a long-distance coach, sleek, modern, European styling, under-the-skin simplicity, proven components, reliable systems. The designer is Laszlo Finta. He understands what is needed, not revolution, evolution. Take what works, refine it, make it adaptable. The Ikarus 556 and 180 models he designed previously provide the foundation. Now he is creating the next generation. Development continues through the late 1960s. Multiple prototypes, testing, refinement. In 1970, 3 prototypes of the Ikarus 260 leave the Matjesfold plant. The city bus variant, high floor design, engine mounted under the floor for better weight distribution and space efficiency. In 1972, serial production begins. The Ikarus 200 family has arrived. The Ikarus 250 and 255 for long distance. The Ikarus 256 and 259 coaches. The Ikarus 260 city bus. The Ikarus 280 articulated city bus. The Ikarus 266 interurban, all sharing components, all built on the same assembly lines. The platform is versatile, exactly as intended. The production numbers climb rapidly, hundreds of buses per month, then thousands per month. The factory runs constantly, multiple shifts. The demand from Comecon countries is insatiable. The Soviet Union alone orders thousands. East Germany orders thousands. Czechoslovakia, Poland, Bulgaria, Romania, all buying Ikarus buses. By 1973, Ikarus is the 4th largest bus manufacturer in the world. Over 100,000 buses have been exported. The company dominates its market completely. In the 1970s and 1980s, approximately 2/3 of the world's articulated bus production involves the Ikarus 280 model. 2/3 from one company in Hungary. The Eastern Bloc icon. The Ikarus 200 series becomes ubiquitous. Every city in the Eastern Bloc has them. Budapest, Moscow, East Berlin, Prague, Warsaw, Sofia, Bucharest. The distinctive shape is everywhere. The sound of the engine is the sound of urban life. The squeal of the articulated joint, the hiss of the air brakes, everyone knows these buses. The design is practical. High floor, 3 doors on the standard 260. 2 doors on articulated 280 models. Large windows for visibility. Standing room for maximum passenger capacity. Hard plastic seats built to last. Nothing luxurious. Everything functional. The Ikarus 280 is the flagship. The articulated version. 60 feet long when using Western measurements. Capacity for well over 100 passengers in dense loading. The articulated joint, the accordion bellows connecting the 2 sections, becomes iconic. Children watch it bend around corners. The mechanical simplicity is impressive. No complex systems, just proven engineering applied at massive scale. The buses spread beyond the Eastern Bloc. Developing countries need affordable public transport. Ikarus offers capability at competitive prices. China buys over 600 Ikarus 66 models in the early years. Burma, Tunisia, Cuba. Over 70 countries eventually operate Ikarus buses. Wherever budgets are limited but transportation is essential, Ikarus finds customers. The quality is inconsistent. This is the reality of socialist production. When the factory is behind on quotas, quality control suffers. When the factory is ahead, production slows to avoid raising future targets. The system creates perverse incentives. But the buses work. They keep running. Parts are available through Comecon supply chains. Mechanics learn to maintain them. The ecosystem functions. In Hungary, the Ikarus becomes a source of national pride. The regime presents the international success as evidence of socialist superiority. Hungarian engineering, Hungarian production, exported worldwide. The propaganda value is enormous. For many Hungarians, even today, Ikarus evokes nostalgia. One of the few globally successful Hungarian brands, a symbol of what was achieved despite the limitations. The American dream. Late 1970s. The United States faces a problem. The era of the new-look mass transit buses is ending. General Motors and Flexible have dominated the market for decades. Their new-look models, introduced in the late 1950s, are everywhere, reliable, standardized. But production ends. GM stops in 1977. Flexible in 1978. Suddenly, American cities need new buses, thousands of them, and the established suppliers are gone. A vacuum appears. Smaller manufacturers try to fill it. Gillig begins developing what will become the Phantom. Neoplan enters the market. Men explores opportunities. Everyone sees the opening. Crown Coach sees it too. Crown Coach Corporation of Los Angeles has been building school buses. Heavy-duty models, fire apparatus, solid products but limited market. The school bus industry is fragile in the late 1970s. Declining enrollment, budget cuts. Crown needs to diversify. Transit buses represent a huge opportunity. But Crown does not have a modern transit bus design, does not have the resources to develop one from scratch. Crown needs a partner, someone with existing designs, production capability, experience in mass transit. Someone willing to enter the American market. Crown finds Ikarus. In 1979, Crown and Ikarus sign an agreement, a joint venture. Ikarus will produce body shells in Budapest, modified for the North American market, ship them to Los Angeles. Crown will complete final assembly, install American engines and transmissions, handle distribution, meet Buy America requirements that mandate domestic content for federally funded transit purchases. The business logic is compelling. Ikarus is producing 13,000 buses per year, 3 times the combined output of all U.S. manufacturers. Their production capacity is enormous. The Ikarus 280 articulated bus is proven. Hundreds operate across Europe and the Eastern Bloc. Adapting it for America should be straightforward. For Hungary, the partnership offers hard currency, foreign exchange, a way to reduce the trade imbalance with the West. For Crown, it offers immediate entry into the transit market without years of development. For both, it seems perfect. The first order was placed in November 1979. The Crown Ikarus 286. The modifications begin immediately. The Ikarus 280 is designed for European specifications, width of 98.4 inches, metric dimensions throughout. For speed manual transmission, the American version needs changes. Width increases to 102 inches. The standard for North American transit buses, American engines, Cummins diesel, 290 horsepower initially. Later models use 300 horsepower versions, automatic transmissions, Allison or Voith. No American transit operator wants manual transmissions. 2 configurations, 55 feet long, 60 feet long. 2 or 3 entry doors depending on the configuration. Conventional transit-style seating, maximum capacity of 73 passengers in the 60-foot version. 5 Houston buses get suburban-style or reclining seats. Capacity of 61, the rest are standard transit layout. The manufacturing process is complex. In Budapest, Ikarus builds the body shells, the basic structure, then ships them across the Atlantic to Los Angeles. Crown receives these partially finished buses, installs the powertrain, the electrical systems, the interior fittings, the destination signs, everything needed to create a complete operational transit bus meeting American standards. For the first vehicles, even the engines and transmissions shipped to Hungary for installation. Later, Crown handles the entire powertrain installation in Los Angeles. The process evolves, becomes more efficient, streamlines. The model designation is Crown Ikarus 286. Different orders get numerical suffixes. Portland's buses are 286.02, but everyone calls them Crown Ikarus or just Ikarus. The partnership branding is clear. Production begins in 1980. 9 transit agencies place orders: Houston, Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, Birmingham, Dayton, Flint, Hartford, Westchester County. A total of 243 buses manufactured between 1980 and 1986. Portland buys 87 buses, more than any other system. Houston buys 50. Seattle tries them. Los Angeles tests them. The Crown Ikarus is spreading across America. Hungarian buses carrying American passengers during the Cold War, a remarkable achievement. Then the problems start. The maintenance nightmare. The buses look fine, modern, sleek. The articulated design is impressive. Passengers like them. Transit operators appreciate the capacity, but the maintenance departments hate them. The problems appear quickly. Doors malfunction, windows fall out, the frames crack, electrical issues, mechanical failures. Things that should not break are breaking. Components that should last years are failing in months. Portland has the worst experience. TriMet operates 87 Crown Ikarus buses. The largest fleet, the maintenance crews document everything. Windows coming out of their frames, door mechanisms failing constantly, structural cracks appearing. The list grows longer. The buses spend more time in the shop than in service. Some days, only 50 of the 87 buses are operational, barely more than half. For a transit system, this is unacceptable. The service reliability that riders depend on is collapsing. Routes get canceled, schedules fall apart, passengers are stranded. TriMet works with Crown and Ikarus to fix the issues. Some problems get solved, others persist. The maintenance costs escalate. The warranties are extended, 1 year, 2 years, still not enough. The maintenance diagrams are mostly in Hungarian. The technical documentation is inadequate. American mechanics are trying to service buses designed in Hungary, built to different standards, using different specifications. The cultural and technical gap is wider than anyone anticipated. In 1985, TriMet files a lawsuit. Breach of contract. The lawsuit identifies 45 separate defects. Frame cracks, systematic failures. Crown Coach and Ikarus are unable or unwilling to correct all of them. The suit claims the buses are fundamentally defective, that the manufacturers knew about problems and failed to address them. The lawsuit drags on for 17 months, then settlement. The details are not released publicly. The warranties extend through 1992. Other terms remain confidential. TriMet gets some relief. Crown and Ikarus avoid a trial. Nobody is happy. Other systems experience problems too. Not as severe as Portland, but similar issues. Maintenance requirements exceed expectations. Parts availability is challenging. The buses need Hungarian components. Shipping from Europe is slow and expensive. The American engines and transmissions are familiar, but everything else is foreign. By 1986, Crown Coach stops taking orders. The joint venture ends. Production ceases. A total of 243 buses built. The American adventure is over. The aftermath. Ikarus does not give up on America. Ontario Bus Industries in Canada partners with Ikarus from 1986 to 1989. The Orion Ikarus 286, essentially the same bus, built in Canada instead of California. Toronto and Ottawa buy them. The Canadian experience is similar. Problems, lawsuits, disappointment. In 1989, Ikarus tries again. Ikarus USA forms, a new approach. Partner with Union City Body Company in Indiana, bring over the Ikarus 416 and 436 models. Newer designs than the 280, more modern. Supposedly better suited to American requirements, the timing is terrible. The Soviet Union is collapsing. The Berlin Wall falls. The entire Eastern Bloc is disintegrating. Ikarus's main markets are evaporating. Hungary is transitioning to a market economy. Everything is chaos. In 1992, financial difficulties force reorganization. Peter Rona, a Hungarian immigrant running the First Hungary Fund, sees opportunity. He purchases 75% of Ikarus USA. Ikarus keeps 25%. The company becomes American Ikarus, relocates to Anniston, Alabama. In 1993, Ikarus sells the remaining 25%. The company becomes North American Bus Industries in ABI. No longer affiliated with Ikarus, an American company building buses in Alabama, using knowledge and designs originally from Hungary, but independent, free to adapt, to compete. NABI succeeds where the joint ventures failed, develops new models. The LFW low-floor bus. Modern designs meeting American expectations, builds market share, becomes a respected manufacturer. In 2013, New Flyer Industries acquires NABI. Production continues until 2015. The irony is remarkable. Ikarus could not succeed selling Hungarian buses to America, but an American company using Hungarian knowledge and technology thrives. The difference is adaptation, understanding the market, meeting local requirements, building what customers actually need instead of modifying what already exists. Back in Hungary, Ikarus faces its own crisis. The collapse of Comecon destroys the company's market. The Soviet Union cannot pay for buses. Eastern European countries have no money. Orders that used to number in thousands drop to nothing. Production collapses from over 17,000 buses per year to nearly zero. The 1990s were brutal. Privatization attempts, restructuring, joint ventures with Western companies. Nothing works. The company fragments, assets are sold, factories close, the workforce scatters. Ikarus, the giant that dominated an entire continent, is dying. The legacy. In 2003, the last Ikarus buses rolled off the assembly line in Székesfehérvár. 3 Ikarus 280 models. The final representatives of a design that dominated for over 30 years. The production run that started in 1972 ended in 2003. Over 3 decades, hundreds of thousands of buses. One of the longest production runs of any bus model in history. The brand survives, barely. Multiple companies claim the Ikarus name. Legal battles over trademarks, various attempts to revive production. In 2006, Magyar Bus Kft. Purchases the Székesfehérvár site and production rights. Between 2010 and 2015, a businessman named Gabor Szeles revived some production. Modern Ikarus buses appear. Small numbers, niche markets. In 2003, CRRC, China Railway Rolling Stock Company, enters the picture. They purchase one of the former Ikarus plants, the brand name. Start building electric buses, the Ikarus 120E City Pioneer. Electric motor from CRRC, modern technology, but carrying the historic Ikarus name. The circle completes. The Chinese are now building Ikarus buses in Hungary. The old buses still exist, thousands of them, still operating in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, developing countries. 40-year-old Ikarus buses held together with improvisation, wire, tape, welding. They keep running. The simplicity that was a weakness in America is a strength in places where complexity means permanent breakdown. In Budapest, the last Ikarus 200 series buses are finally retired in 2022 after 50 years of service. Not the same individual buses, but the same model, the same design, 5 decades, a world record for the continuous service of a bus type. The Hungarian capital finally says goodbye. Museums preserve examples, the Transport Museum in Budapest, collections across Europe, enthusiasts restore them. Ikarus fan clubs exist worldwide, from Japan to England. The buses that once seemed so ordinary become historical artifacts, symbols of an era, the Cold War, the Eastern Bloc, socialist industry, all preserved in metal, glass, and fading paint. Conclusion: there is a photograph from the 1980s. A Crown Ikarus 286 in Portland. The bus is turning a corner. The articulated joint bending. Passengers are visible through the windows, going about their lives, commuting, shopping, visiting, normal American activities. The bus is blue and white, tri-met colors, but the shape is unmistakably Ikarus, Eastern European design, on American streets. The photograph captures something remarkable. A moment when East met West. When business transcended politics, when Hungarian engineering carried American passengers during the Cold War, when the two worlds were supposed to be separate, opposed, incompatible. The experiment failed. The Crown Ikarus partnership collapsed. The buses were problematic. The maintenance was expensive. Portland sued. Other cities were disappointed. By every commercial measure, the venture was unsuccessful, but it happened. That matters. Hungarian buses in American cities. Thousands of passengers were carried. Years of service despite the problems. The buses worked, not perfectly, not reliably, but they moved people. They fulfilled the basic mission: transport, connection, mobility. Ikarus built over 200,000 buses across all models, dominated an entire continent for 3 decades, exported to over 70 countries, became one of the world's largest bus manufacturers, from a blacksmith's workshop to an industrial empire. The arc is extraordinary. The company could not adapt to the market economy, could not compete when the planned system collapsed, could not survive the transition. The story ends in fragmentation, bankruptcy, acquisition. Rebirth is something else, the fate of many socialist enterprises, but the legacy endures. In museums, in nostalgia, in the buses still operating somewhere, and in the improbable fact that during the Cold War, Hungarian buses rolled through American cities, carrying Americans, built by a communist country, financed by capitalism, assembled by partners who barely understood each other. The world is strange. History is unpredictable. Sometimes a blacksmith starts a workshop. Sometimes that workshop becomes a bus factory. Sometimes those buses end up in Portland, Oregon, carrying passengers who have no idea they are riding in a vehicle built in Budapest, who do not know the history, who just want to get home. That is the Ikarus story. Not triumph, not a disaster, just persistence, adaptation, survival through change, building buses. Wherever they are needed, however they can be built, for as long as possible. The Soviet bus that made it all the way to the United States. Not successfully, not permanently, but it made it. Against all odds, despite all obstacles, because sometimes business finds a way, even when politics says no.